Hi, I'm Nick Petrarca, and we are the EWG Mercury. Now, today's talk show is a very special edition. As many of you may know, Mr. Rounds, one of our beloved EWG high school teachers, my personal favorite teacher, has been diagnosed with ALS. Now, not a lot of people know kind of what ALS is and like what happens to a person who's diagnosed with ALS. So I'm going to have the panelists introduce themselves first off.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Lynn McGovern. I'm the Care Service Coordinator for the ALS Association Rhode Island Chapter.
I'm Ryan McKenna. I'm a junior here at EWG.
I'm Adam Reese. I'm a senior here at Exeter West Greenwich.
Mr. Brown. Yeah. Bad boys.
Yeah. So, Ms. McGovern.
Yes.
What is ALS first off?
So ALS is a progressive neurodegenerative neuromuscular disease. There are two types. It will form either in a bulbar sense, where people have a difficult time speaking, swallowing, or it's a limb onset. It could be a lower limb, legs, upper limb, it could be your arms.
Yeah. Now, what do you like? How do you feel with ALS? Like, what does it like?
Well, what voice is?
Yeah, the voice.
Obviously, my legs are weak. I can't stand. So, what voice is that for my brother? So,
Yeah. How does it feel emotionally to be diagnosed with this disease? Like, what are some of the emotional, mental aspects of it?
Okay, so it is an emotionally devastating illness. Being a neurological-based illness, even folks who've never experienced any type of a mood swing or a sadness or a sudden laughter with this illness can experience that. They call it a pseudo-bulbar effect. So it may not be anything that makes you laugh, but you begin to laugh, and that laugh can then carry over into a sob, or vice versa. You can begin to sob, and then it can carry over into a laugh. So it's very difficult.
That's actually very surprising. I didn't know that it affects emotionally.
Absolutely.
I thought it was just like this whole time I thought it was all muscle and physical, and that's very surprising to hear.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah. Well, it depends on where the motor neurons begin to die. So people who are experiencing upper motor neuron death, that's also at the upper part of your spinal column. So it will affect your emotions. And people who have always been in very good spirits will sometimes experience some form of depression. Very uncharacteristic of their life naturally, but due to the nature of the illness, it is part of it.
Yeah. Mr. Rounds, how do you feel kind of like mentally going through this?
I feel fluctuation. I feel okay, but positive because of you guys.
Yeah.
You guys have done for me all year. My family is great. I can't complain. I'm good. I wish my voice was very but I'm okay.
I think one thing I want to say here is that you've always been a very high-spirited person. That's one thing that inspires me, is seeing you, even with all of this going on, you remaining very high-spirited, and that I find that very admirable.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've been blessed if you had in my life.
Thank you. And as I said before, if this is obviously a horrible disease, but the community, from what I've seen, has come together so many times, and we've just. I hope you feel all the love that we constantly.
I feel every day. I always say, feel my hands on my shoulders all the time. I'm very blessed for you
blessed to have. We're blessed to have him.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's called Lou Gehrig's disease because Lou Gehrig was a baseball player, correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
And he was diagnosed with ALS,
Right.
and that's why it's called Lou Gehrig's disease, correct?
Right. So the diagnosis actually was discovered in the mid-1800s, early to mid-1800s. But Lou Gehrig being the first famous person, very much in the spotlight, a Yankee baseball player at the age of 36, was diagnosed, and very much like Mr. Rounds, had this wonderful spirit about him. And so with that, it was sort of a disease named for him at that period of time.
Do you?
So sort of like he was considered like patient zero, like sort of like in the same aspect of like AIDS when that broke through in the 80s. Patient zero was the first person to have it, and
No, not the first person, but I think the first person that was really visible and very famous and brought sort of a spotlight to the illness.
Do you think Lou Gehrig's like helped, like kind of like make it more relevant and kind of like help people become more aware of it, raise awareness? Do you think?
I do believe back in the time he did,
Yeah.
and certainly carrying on the name through the illness.
Yeah.
When people hear amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, they may say, "What is that?" But when you say it's Lou Gehrig's disease, then they say, "Oh, that's a light bulb moment." I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think ALS has become more common, or like since it first was found?
Well, what's happening now is that our association, part of our drive is to raise awareness, and we advocate. And ALS Awareness Month is actually the month of May, so here we are in the last day of May. What happens is that we find it very important to continue to talk about it and continue to really advocate for patients and advocate for research, because we ultimately want to find a cure. So I just believe that the awareness is out there more than it has been in the past.
Awesome. We'll be right back on this commercial break. We'll see you soon.
what is going on, you guys? This is the Mad Hatters with Adam coming at you with
the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge.
That sounded weird. Anyways, I've got a couple multi-camera shots for you. I got nominated by @Legendary Creative Daniel Zappia. Now it's time for the nominations. I nominate @KrazKid Nolan Rivera, @iPolydip Paul DePadua, and @Gomesy Jr. Gomesy. Now it's time for the soaking, so you know. That's cold.
Welcome back to the EWG Mercury. Now, Adam, how did that cold water feel?
Cold and wet. That's the best way I can put it. Actually, I kind of want to expand on the whole. We were just talking about Lou Gehrig and that bringing up a lot of awareness for the disease. But I feel the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge also really helped bring up awareness for it, because personally I didn't know what ALS was until the trend started going, because it was a trend and a lot of people were doing it. It was a part of just a trend, you know. Everyone was doing it and everyone was nominating their friends, but it also really raised awareness and money as well for finding a cure for ALS, and I find that actually really interesting. And like I said, I had no idea what ALS was, and then when I did the challenge, I looked it up. I was like, so what even is
Yeah, it
ALS,
helped.
you know?
It helped a younger generation kind of realize and like become more aware of it, because I feel like the generation that we were born into we didn't know Lou Gehrig as like, a baseball player. We didn't really know who he was. But the Ice Bucket Challenge became a worldwide just phenomenon that everybody started to do. So it really helped us, I feel.
Very true.
And Mr. Rounds was just telling me before we came back on that he did the Ice Bucket Challenge too. So, no, so I feel like raising awareness is, as people like who are, I guess bystanders is the best way to put it. I feel like raising awareness is at the very least the most that we can do.
People who aren't affiliated with the disease directly or indirectly, it helps them kind of at least become aware of it.
Yeah.
If I can just touch on the Ice Bucket Challenge of 2014. We were nationally an organization that raised about $4 million a year. Wow. But the Ice Bucket Challenge put us up to $150 million.
Oh, that's incredible.
Which that money was earmarked for research. And in Mass General Hospital, there were 10 projects alone earmarked for research. And it also opened the doors for collaboration around the country and the world. Anybody receiving the ALS Association funding for research needed to share their projects with other researchers. And we do believe that some of that has pushed along. We do have a new drug, the first one in 22 years, that's going to come out in August for the treatment of ALS. So we're very excited about that.
So how is the research going?
There's quite a bit of research all over the country. Mass General Hospital, there's Duke, there's Northeastern University. There's always something happening in the terms of research with ALS.
Now, I also wanted to touch upon the treatment aspect of it. Like, how is ALS treated?
Well, the treatment is pretty much done through a multidisciplinary team. And here in Rhode Island, we have a team at Rhode Island Hospital. And we reserve a space, and each, probably twice a month, we have this team of folks that will weigh in on how our patients are doing. And it's comprised of a neurologist, a pulmonologist, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech pathology, and nutrition. And they all kind of come into a room. They see how our patients are doing, make new recommendations, do they need prescriptions written, that kind. In terms of actual drug medication, we only have one. It's called Riluzole. It came out back in 1998. And that's the only known treatment at this point. We are going to experience this new medication in August, so we'll see how that goes.
So the new medication, does it slow down the process?
So that's what the effects have shown, that it can slow down the progress up to 33 1/3%. So that's quite a leap from where we were prior to this. So we're very hopeful.
Do you believe, based on all this research, that someday there might be a possible cure for ALS?
Absolutely, absolutely. We have come a long way, and our motto at the ALS Association is there's always a reason for hope, and we do believe that, and we do believe there's going to be a cure.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
That really is.
Yeah.
So another question I have, is ALS is it only in adults, or can it happen in teenagers and young kids too?
So typically the age group is 55 to 70, although in recent years we do see more folks that are younger than that experiencing ALS. People who serve in the military are twice as likely to develop ALS.
Wow.
They don't really know why. It's speculation that it could be basic training, environment, mass inoculations, but we do find that there's twice the likeliness. And so the Veterans Administration put this in as a presumptive illness of military service, and they do provide quite a bit of support for veterans with ALS.
I never knew that. So Ryan, do you have anything you want to ask or add to the conversation?
Aside from veterans, are there anybody else within that age bracket, excuse me, who is more likely to develop ALS?
Well, that's the kind of curious nature of this illness, is that 95% of people, this is a sporadic onset. There's a very small percentage of people that this runs in the family. And it is very difficult to kind of know who wouldn't. Many of our patients have experienced great health throughout their life. They've been athletic, always health conscious, and have developed this illness. So it's very hard to kind of know who will develop this illness.
No, you had said patients with ALS often experience problems swallowing and breathing.
Correct.
Now, I read somewhere that patients often sleep with one of those masks that like a patient with sleep
Right.
apnea
Right.
would have.
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
My dad actually wears one. He has sleep apnea.
A little different. I was sleep apnea
Yeah.
for years. My BiPAP, different type of machine.
hmm
Same thing, matter.
So like when you like sleep, it's because you're like laying back. Your throat is in a different position, correct?
Right.
So that causes difficulty. So it would only make sense that patients would wear a mask to help with their breathing.
Right.
Now, does that push more airflow into?
It does.
Does it like
Yeah.
open up the throat a little, like expand it?
It does. So there's like a pressure that goes in and then kind of goes on the return. So yeah.
Overall, I feel like we've really discussed a lot of, the treatments, the causes, and what really ALS is. And I hope, as an audience, you guys really appreciated this and was knowledgeable. And now, Adam, I believe you have something you would like to say?
Yeah. So a while back, last December, Nick and I and many other people put together something, and with that, we had asked many people to make little notes and like thinking of you notes, and we put it in a box and we locked the box, put it in a safe spot on Mr. Gardner's desk, and we went to as many people as we could, and we actually made this for you.
Thank you.
And the key is yours, the box is yours, and if you're ever having a rough day and you feel maybe you're losing hope or something, you feel like you're not as strong, this, I feel, could bring you up in high spirits as your normal self.
Adam and I, we went to every classroom we could, and we, said, if you have a note, please give it to Mr. Rounds. So we wish you
Man.
nothing but the best.
Fantastic. Again, we're blessed. Those are mine.
It's truly our honor to have had you as a teacher.
My have you.
Yeah, our school, it's like, there's a literal void without you. It just, it feels empty without you here. It really does.
So we wish you nothing but the best, Mr. Rounds.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming again. We
Thank
really
you for
appreciate it. You're
having
very knowledgeable. We learned a lot.
Great.
And thank you for tuning in. Tune in next time at the EWG Mercury.